Hey, what's up guys? Sir Emanon here, bringing to you today the first of numerous feature matches from the online TCG tournament that I held on my server about a couple weeks ago at this point. So yeah, I am going to just be taking one match from each of the Swiss rounds and then each of the top cut rounds for you guys to go ahead and just take a look at. And I'll be commentating them over, just my usual post commentary style. And you'll notice that I do have a face cam this time. Let me know if you guys prefer this or if you just would rather focus more on the gameplay. I know that some people are not big fans of face cams because they are personally distracting, and that's totally fine. But just definitely let me know if you prefer this and seeing the penguins in the background, or if you would rather just focus solely on the gameplay. I'm cool with either of them. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the gameplay. I didn't even mention the matchup. So we got Kakashi's Wrath playing Trickstar versus Morris playing Lunalight Time Thief. So yeah, this is the first round of Swiss, and I just kind of I kind of went through each of the replays and picked out, maybe not necessarily like, it wasn't really anything in particular that I picked out. It was just a match that I found interesting for various different reasons. So if you're wondering why I picked certain matches to be showcased, there's not really any like specific rhyme or reason. I'm just trying to have a bit of variety on which decks are being featured. So I'm trying not to have too many repeats, if that makes sense. So I would rather just have a pretty good showcase and diversity of different decks that are being featured on the channel. So yeah, let's just go ahead and now get into the gameplay here. All right, so Lunalight Time Thieves up first. And the opening hands are pretty interesting here. So you can see that the Trickstar players opened up with DD Dynamite, so there is a little bit of burn in here. It's not super heavy on the burn, but it is present a little bit. And then we also got a pretty solid hand from Lunalight, assuming it all resolves. It is pretty weak to hand traps, but in general, it should be relatively good. So he's going to start off with a Fire Formation Tenki, of course, because that's like the only real starter play. He's going to go off and search for a Collider Chick. Personally, I would have been relatively greedy. If this resolved, I wouldn't have been too afraid of anything. If he draws, you have Gamma, and like that would like be the only real time to draw. Most players, if they have Ash, actually choose to Ash at this point, just because like it's a lot easier to do it now when your opponent doesn't really have access to the resources yet. Whereas if you choose to Ash later, then it could be already too late when your opponent already has like the extenders. Like a lot of people at this point would have chosen, or not a lot of people, but some people would have chosen to Ash like the Force Strix. But I personally think that that's not really the correct move. You should just try and stop the resource access in general. And in this particular hand, it would have been pretty devastating. But yeah, I would have gone for the Emerald Bird just to be able to get the additional plus out of it. Simply because like you'll be able to get the draw off the Emerald Bird and the search off the Yellow Martins. So like again, you're not really fearing draw too much because like you have the Gamut to protect yourself. So like there's not really too much that could have stopped it apart from like maybe a Fringe Veiler or Impermanence, but most people don't stop that either. So like you would have been pretty safe, and also like the Jackalope would have like at least ensured that you had some form of follow up. So it would not have been too bad, because like any way to get into a Lambda would have allowed the Perfume to be turned on, and you would have had full combo anyways. So I think that going for Emerald Bird would have been the safest option. All right, but now he's gonna go ahead and normal summon the Collider Chick, send the Yellow Martin. You could have made the argument to like do it this way just to play around something like a Droll if you didn't for some reason want to commit Gamma, or if like you want to play around Veiler. Here's a chance where you could like send Emerald Bird this way and then use Perfume to trigger Emerald Bird. That could have been an option, but yeah, Emerald Bird definitely I think should have been part of this combo stream personally. But Perfume is going to bring back Martin, and we're going to go into Force Strix to search Zephyrs. Nothing too surprising here. And he's going to activate Danger Jackalope, which is fairly reasonable. So it will hit the Gamma, which kind of sucks because now like going into Lambda doesn't actually protect you from any hand traps like Nibiru. But the tricks I played didn't open anything, so pretty fortunate on his end. And he draws in the Call by the Grave anyway. So like I obviously won't protect against Nibiru, but if there are any other hand traps at this point for whatever reason, like maybe an Ash on Perfume later during the turn structure, like that could have been something that Call by the Grave would be useful for. But yeah, Perfume will pitch the Zephyros, and that will grab Tiger to hand, of course, and then we can pretty much just see him go off into the full combo. So Lambda will be brought out onto the field, Tiger will bring out Chick, and then Emerald Bird will be sent to the graveyard via Chick, which, again, I still maintain it should have been sent earlier, but not that big of a deal at this stage because everything's resolving regardless. So yeah, Martin's bouncing the Tiger, Tiger bring back the Emerald Bird, and he's going to make Redoer, which is pretty good because it gets a fair amount of value out of this. So Lambda and Emerald Bird both trigger. So again, his Gamma back in the end phase, so like losing this one didn't even matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, so Bird will bring back the Yellow Martin, and he also has Zephyros left, so he can make another rank 4 on top of all of this, so that's pretty beneficial. So Perpetual will guarantee a spin on Redoer, and then he can make a blind rank 4 of his choice. And I believe he does go for Abyss Dweller, which is pretty safe in most matchups. Not so much in this one with this particular opening, but you know, blind obviously you would generally go for either Dweller or Evil Swarm Nightmares, so pretty good there. And then in end phase, Lambda resolves for Gamma. I'm surprised he didn't set the Call by the Grave. Maybe he just forgot, but yeah, I think like Call by would have been a nice extra interruption, depending on the matchup. Of course, like you have the Dweller anyway, but you know, just in case you play something like Infernoid, I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna see the Trickstar player top deck into the Mystic Mine. And actually, Morris, I just realized, didn't use Perpetual in the end phase to attach the flyback. I think he does it on this turn, but he could have put extra materials because he is playing Winder in the main deck. So yeah, he is gonna attach the Droll, so that would have gotten the monster there anyways. So not that big of a deal. But yeah, he'll have the extra interruption off the flyback. So like, I guess that's like another reason maybe he didn't set the Call by the Grave. Maybe he didn't want to lose to like a main deck evenly. That could be another thing. But yeah, Dweller is gonna be fired off in standby phase. And then Candina will be normal summoned here. So he did draw a Mystic Mine, but obviously activating it will just lose to Redoer. So he's gonna like fish out various interruptions. He doesn't opt to use Candina's effect because he knows that there is a Gamma in hand, and he didn't draw Licorice. So if you're wondering how that interaction would have worked, by the way, the Licorice would have bounced the Candina to the hand, and Candina would have been negated, but it wouldn't be destroyed. So yeah, Lambda will go to Grave, so he is able to use monster effects now if he wishes to, but at this point I think he's trying to set up to where he won't die and then go for a Mystic Mine play. In the end phase, Moros will opt to utilize the Redoer to spin the Candina. Yeah, he like tries to point us or spin back a set, but yeah, Redoer only obviously spins back face-ups. So yeah, all right, and here's where like something like if he opted to use Perpetua the turn prior, then he would have had like a Winder and Grave, so we've gotten an extra body off of this standby phase Perpetua. So yeah, that's where like the difference could come in, where like you get an extra body for free that way, and an extra search as well, because he still has retrograde access. Okay, so he's gonna chain to Redoer. There can be only one, so that gets rid of the Perpetual anyway. So I guess like that's kind of a moot point in the face of there can be only one. But in general, like you would want the extra value. So yeah, he's gonna top deck the Candina that we know already is on the top of Kakashi's deck. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and enter main phase. He's gonna normal summon a Tiger and then just go into battle phase. I'm not quite sure. Well, he didn't opt to go for a Nightmare Phoenix play here, just to at least try and get rid of there can be only one. Because like you can actually OTK if you have like good enough setup here. Like you can pitch Gamma and then you can like special Winder by like detaching off of like whatever remaining exceeds, probably the Redoer, and then you have Tiger left and like Martin and everything. So you have everything that you could want. It's just a matter of if you wanted like to go for the Phoenix play, but I guess you wanted to play a bit more conservatively. So it'll do a fair amount of damage, and then go to end phase, and that's pretty much the rest of it. So Trickstar will top deck a Licorice here. So there is a reincarnation in case he wanted to like I don't know, like ever revive a Trickstar later on. Like if you got this Candina back in grave, then you can like bounce with Icarus and then normal the Candina if he ever gets this redoer to trigger. So yeah, redoer will attach a Lily Bell, so that's like another option because reincarnation summon back Lily Bell is also really powerful because it gets back the Candina as well. But he's going to standby phase, activate Twin Twister, targeting the Tiger and their Call by the Grave, which is pretty powerful because Tiger won't be able to activate because of there can be only one. So he's going to chain Call by the Grave to target the Licorice. And at this point, he's just going to, after the drawer goes off, he's just going to activate Mystic Mine. And if Lunalight does not have an out in the main deck, it's going to be pretty hard. Because he's going to like consolidate his board into Borosword just to have less monsters on field, which is like fine, but like you have to have specific outs now. Like if he had pushed the turn prior, then that would have been a lot more beneficial. And that's why like waiting is kind of risky. Like this is a deck that could main deck Mystic Mine. Honestly, a lot of decks can just main deck Mystic Mine this format. So yeah, I prefer to just not play the grind game if at all possible because the deck is so good at being aggressive anyways that you'd rather just, you know, if you can out the board and go for the Decay, might as well do it in that turn. Like you're not trying to hold resources unless you're playing under like your own Mystic Mine. But yeah, in a lot of cases, like going for the aggressive play would have been better, especially because like it's like kind of scary to play into 3-life back row, but you kind of have to just take the chance there. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of passing, so I'm just gonna actually just fast forward this. Alright, so yeah, there'll be a reincarnation, and then trap trick for another reincarnation. And at that point, Morris decides to just scoop it up, because I'm pretty sure he just didn't have an out in his main deck. So game 2, he's opted to go second against Trickstar, but Trickstar apparently boarded to go second as well. Because Evenly is in here, so it's pretty interesting. We got Mystic Mine decided in, so we'll see how this shakes out. So Candida is going to go ahead and grab Reincarnation, and we also have... he's actually going to keep the Terraforming, which is pretty interesting. He could have gone for Licorice just so he can get the Candida. Like, he could, before the Candida, obviously, he could have just gone Licorice to recycle the Candida to have a play next turn, but... he's probably just holding this in case he wants to get mine. That's my best guess. Standby phase, he's going to activate Reincarnation, which I never honestly understand the motivation behind like shotgunning Reincarnation. Just because it doesn't actually guarantee that your opponent is like gonna get rid of anything valuable. Like obviously his hand was really strong, but like you could give your opponent like more outs to things. No, you give your opponent a better hand. It's just a coin toss at this point. Like in this case, it worked out because the hand that he drew was significantly worse than the hand that he had previously. But I just think that like shotgunning the Reincarnation is like, I almost think it's not correct in a lot of cases. But regardless, we're gonna see Foolish Goods come down. And Candida will be doing the small bit of burn, and then Twin Twister will happen afterwards to hit the Judgment. So Nessie will go ahead and search for a copy of Mothman. This is a case where I probably would have just gotten Jackalope. Because Perfume Pitch Jackalope gets you like more rank 4 access. But yeah, he's decided to just use Mothman in hand. And this is really risky because if the Foolish gets sniped, then you can't guarantee your Lunalight plays actually go through because you only get one search off the Perfume, and you'll be relying pretty much on whatever you draw. Like, I guess you could technically get like a Kaleido Chick and then go for maybe a rank 4 and like Special Winder and like try and go off that, but I think just either setting the Foolish or activating it right away would have been much... It would have guaranteed that you had the Lunalight plays online, basically, right? So we're resolving Mothman. The die is gonna land on numbers that aren't 1, 3, 4 a bunch of times. All right, so he hits a Winder and draws into a Gamma, which is for most cases it is dead here. So Winder is going to be normal summon to search Retrograde. Like he could just like hold off and will special the Winder with its own effect. So like now he's like really relying on this Foolish to resolve. And the Trickstar player does have an Ash in hand, so like this is a play that's very very susceptible. Um, so in this case, like the correct play would be to Foolish first, just to see if there is an Ash, because that way at least you have more flexible lines of play. But he's going to go into a Utopia double and not even like go for any of the Lunalight plays at all. He's gonna go battle phase, and it actually resolves. So Trickstar player maybe just forgot that he could actually Ash Utopia double, or was like maybe just still waiting for a perfume to actually like use the Ash on. Like maybe you're so fixated on like, all right, I'm using this Ash on the perfume. But yeah, Ashing the double obviously would have saved him from being gamed this turn, but he chose not to. So this Utopia will go in for the fat 10,000 and steal the game right there. So we're gonna go into game 3 here. So yeah, there's definitely I would consider like plays that could be optimized a bit on both sides, but that's kind of why I want to feature these matches, because it's very very good to learn from misplays. All right, so your Trickstar will be going first, and we have a very go first oriented hand. Should we say we got Judgment, there can building 1 and 2 DD Dynamite. Like DD Dynamite pairs with Reincarnation, but at the same time, like I don't think Trickstar needs to burn to win personally, but he's gonna pick up Terraforming and Trap Tricks, so he's pretty off to the races here. Gonna grab Light Stage for Candina, and Candina will probably get or get Gamut. Actually, won't get anything. He'll get Gamut. And Driver will be in the hand, so that's kind of unfortunate because it's just a minus -1 at the end of everything. So he really needs to pick up something that's gonna like actually get accelerate his plays. And what do we find but a Tenki off the top? So pretty good. He's gonna go battle phase and then evenly match. That gets met with Judgment. So yeah, he decides to do that instead of Trap Trick for Reincarnation, just so he can like use more of his traps, which is I think reasonable. One of the things is that like you can play around evenly pretty well in Trickstar because of Reincarnation, but you can also bait Trickstar pretty well just by like bluffing evenly if you don't have it. So like you can force them to use the Reincarnation at a bad time if you like don't have it, but if they want to respect it and they don't have Judgment. So that was like the thing that you could have done back when Trickstar was a lot more popular. Like with Trickstar Striker in like 2018, I want to say, like around Nat's time. But he picks up another Candina, I believe. So gonna go ahead and search the Licorice. So now the engine is pretty well online. It's interesting that he didn't actually go for any of the Lunalight plays. Like, I guess I understand that you don't want to relinquish your Twin Twister, but at the same time, like you could like maybe bait Reincarnation with a tanky search, and then like you could flip up Trap Trick, and then you could like Twister the other two back row, and that could have been like an okay play. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go in for some damage here. So this is like a fair bit of damage, 3,800 I do believe. And then Trap Trick will be activated for Reincarnation, giving him like a very very similar hand at the end of it. So Licorice will burn for another 800, and yeah, Reincarnation will bring back the first Candina. So this is like a lot of damage here. Candina will be will attack rather for another 2,000. I'm just like trying to think of the game state here. So this DD Dynamite can actually burn for game here because we got Licorice, which will burn in the draw phase for 400, and then this will burn for 15. So I do believe that is game. Yeah, so gonna draw Retrograde, and that is the Trickstar burn strategy coming in here. So I guess DD Dynamite there did end up winning him the game. Granted, it would have been hard to play through There Can Be Only One, especially because the Twin Twister got sniped out of the Reincarnation on his own turn. Yeah, so that was pretty unfortunate. I still think that after the evenly, Morris could have gone for a bit of a push. Like conserving resources against Trickstar. Again, you don't really want to play the long game because it gives them more windows to come in. And like topping the second Candina was pretty lucky, but at the same time, it's like definitely a possibility to happen. Like it could have been another Extravagance or like just more ways to access the engine. So I think you have to just be as aggressive as you can. Like within reason, of course. But like if you have the window to try and make a play, I think you should do so whenever you can. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All 3 links in the description as always. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.